You're watching ABC 7 News at 4, starting with First Alert Weather.
Good afternoon on this Wednesday morning. We appreciate you joining us. We are looking at some showers developing here along the Sun Coast, but not nearly as much rain as they've seen over the Panhandle. Get a look at this. This is what Gordon brought and still is bringing, although it is weakened down to a tropical depression near Jackson. You can see that rotation quite clearly. But all the rain is down to the east and to the southeast of the center of low pressure, and it is causing all sorts of problems with flooding across the Panhandle of Florida. That is the area that got hit the hardest by the storm. It made landfall before midnight last night, right there on the border of Mississippi and Alabama. But all the rough weather in terms of heavy rainfall has really been felt over the Panhandle of Florida. Pensacola is set to get some more rainfall as more moisture moves in from the Gulf of Mexico. Get a look at this. The rainfall estimates just over the past 24 hours, over a foot just south of Pensacola, nearly a foot near Pensacola, and even up to north of there in Escambia County. Gulf breeze also seeing some tremendous amount of rainfall. There's that foot of rain right there on the island, and then as you push toward Pensacola, just under 8 inches more rain on the way, and also some showers still developing into parts of Louisiana and Mississippi. The low pressure area, now the tropical low, has 30-mile-an-hour winds, so not much of a windstorm anymore, but still expected to bring heavy rainfall into Arkansas, stretching up into Missouri as it heads off to the northeast. So the storm is not done quite yet. For us, we're going to look for basically some showers to move on through. Now, out in the tropics, this is a look at the Thursday forecast. We're watching Florence, the first major hurricane of the season, and it actually developed in an area that you wouldn't think it would get it to Category 3 status. There's quite a bit of shear taking place, but water temperatures warm enough, and avoiding the shear in a small area allowed this system to really get going. We're watching two systems coming off the coast of Africa as well. That one in the central portion of the Atlantic is Florence. We'll keep an eye on that for you. There's some indications that it may head a little bit more west. Details on that coming up in a few minutes. Jacqueline, Scott?
All right, Bob, thank you so much. Our top story, a Pinellas County mother charged with murdering her 2-year-old son appearing in court today.
An Amber Alert for Therese Stinson's son, Jordan Bellevue, ended after his body was found in a wooded area last night. A new report says Stinson admits that she hit Jordan in the face with the back of her hand, causing his head to hit a wall inside her apartment. After that blow, Stinson says Jordan suffered from seizures leading to his death. Stinson went on to say that she carried Jordan's body out to the wooded area where he was later found. At her first court appearance today, the judge gave Stinson a $500,000 bond for the charge of aggravated child abuse and no bond for the first-degree murder charge.
Although it seems to be getting better, businesses are still struggling to get by during this red tide outbreak.
Sales have dropped so much that some business owners in Venice are now asking their landlords for help with rent. ABC 7's Rebecca Fernandez joins us live now from outside one restaurant with more on what they're asking for. Rebecca?
Jacqueline, Scott, well, as you can see behind me, Sharky's on the pier is pretty empty today, and its owners say it's been that way since June. They've seen their sales drop close to 70% this summer at both Sharky's and their other restaurant called Finn's. And since they rent this property from the city of Venice, they're asking for a rent reduction for July and August. In their lease with the city, they have a clause stating that they are allowed to negotiate their rent if there is a toxic algae outbreak that lasts longer than 30 days. And as we know very well in Sarasota County, this year's red tide has lasted way longer than that. So what about all the other businesses in the city of Venice that are being affected by this exact same thing? I'll have more on that tonight at 6. For now, live in Venice, Rebecca Fernandez, ABC 7, your Suncoast News. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. New at 4, Charlotte County Sheriff's deputies are asking for the public to help identify the bingo hall burglar, as he's being called. Deputies say the suspect entered the bingo trail yesterday or early Tuesday morning and then stole some cash. If you have any information on who may have committed this crime, call Crime Stoppers toll free at 800-780-TIPS. The security measures planned for Florida schools could cost billions of dollars. The Pinellas County Sheriff leading the Florida Commission investigating February's high school massacre in Parkland says adding high-tech video systems, metal detectors, and bulletproof glass at the state's 4,200 public schools would cost more than $2 billion. In addition, placing at least one armed police officer at each campus would cost $400 million each year. The members of the commission will issue a report by January 1st recommending changes to lawmakers and Florida's next governor. Jacqueline joins us now with the latest damage from what was Tropical Storm Gordon.
Scott, authorities have confirmed the first death related to Tropical Storm Gordon. A child was killed when a tree fell on a mobile home last night in Pensacola. Emergency officials responded to a mobile home around 9 p.m. of a possible entrapment and death. When crews arrived on scene, they found a very large oak tree limb on the back of a home. No other injuries were reported. President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Brett Kavanaugh, back in the hot seat today after a fiery start yesterday during the confirmation hearings. The Republicans now pointing out that many committee Democrats have already declared they're voting no on Kavanaugh, undermining their pleas for more time. A real concern now is that Kavanaugh, who has expressed that sitting presidents shouldn't be investigated, could protect the president if a challenge to the Mueller probe hits the high court. The nominee defending his independence throughout.
I do not decide cases based on personal or policy preferences. I am not a pro-plaintiff or pro-defendant judge. I'm not a pro-prosecution or pro-defense judge. I am a pro-law judge.
This battle is one that could shape the Supreme Court for decades. Kavanaugh's likely confirmation would cause a conservative 5-4 majority on the court, endangering liberal court precedents. Now to a shocking murder case out of South Carolina where a wife is now behind bars accused of poisoning her husband with over-the-counter eye drops. His family now breaking their silence about the stunning accusations. Investigators say they still have no clear motive. Stephen Clayton was found dead in the foyer of their mansion in Lake Wylie. Police say they never suspected foul play was involved until toxicology results from his autopsy revealed high levels of a chemical often found in eye drops and nasal sprays in his bloodstream. If ingested orally, that chemical can cause respiratory failure, seizures, and even comas.
During our search of the home, we found several bottles of the eye drops. Well, she did admit during interviews with our detectives that she committed the crimes.
Today, Clayton remains without bond, facing murder and unlawful tampering of food charges. Her husband's family speaking out, saying they are, quote, shocked and mortified at the cause of Stephen's death. All of our family and friends knew how much he loved his wife, Lena, and how devoted he was to her. At least a dozen people fell ill on a flight from the Middle East to New York today. Emirates Flight 203 from Dubai was quarantined after it landed at JFK Airport. Initial reports said as many as 100 people fell ill. That plane was separated from other flights, and both emergency medical providers and the CDC arrived on scene there. 12 people have now been hospitalized. Witnesses said some passengers were coughing throughout the flight and had fevers over 100 degrees. Let's send it back to Scott with the latest plans for improvements at St. Armand's Circle.
Public restrooms are coming to St. Armand's, and they won't be cheap. Sarasota City Commissioners approving plans last night for the $500,000 project. Construction will begin in about 6 months on 2 freestanding restrooms on those grassy medians of St. Armand's Circle. St. Armand's Business Improvement District will pay the $583,000, and then the city will pay about $100,000 a year for maintenance. It's a piece of history that's now on the move. The historic Green Street Church and Museum in Englewood will be moved from its current location on West Green Street to a new permanent location at Lemon Bay Cemetery next Tuesday. Due to a mix of zoning, lease, and parking issues, the church needs to be moved in order to preserve it. It will cost around $200,000. That was raised with grants and donations. Still to come at 4, a month-long $1 million renourishment project on Longboat Key has begun. And in Texas, a woman's quick thinking saved her life just moments before her vehicle went up in flames. Plus, the dictionary Growing with the Times will show you some of the 800 new words that have been added.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
Honda, I like it.
You like to pay less. That's why you made Honda Accord the best-selling mid-size car in America. Get the redesigned Accord, the North American Car of the Year, or Civic, a KBB.com Best Buy for less than the competition. Like SUVs and trucks? Get Motor Trend's SUV of the Year, CR-V, the 8-passenger Pilot, or Ridgeline truck for up to $4,240 less today at your local Honda dealer.
I heard about the Datole Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Datole Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Datole Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do. Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000. Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help with Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
Gettle's got what you're looking for at Gettle.com. 17 new car brands, over 1,000 used vehicles, prices and payments you can afford. Credit help if you need it, and they pay cash for your old car. Plus, Gettle Pre-Owned Certified Plus means buying with peace of mind. Need service? Gettle's got that too. Gettle's got it. Visit Gettle.com.
Nearly 30,000 tons of sand is being brought to the north end of Longboat Key in hopes of renourishing the beach there. ABC 7's Jackie Kelly talked to Longboat Key's Public Works Department about this multi-million-dollar project. Jackie?
Scott, I'm here in front of the North Shore Public Beach Access in Longboat Key, which is currently closed due to this renourishment project. Now the project is expected to be complete within a month. Public Works said that this part of the island sees a lot of erosion because there is a reversal zone here, which means the current split in 2 directions. They hope by adding sand, it will not only make the beach look better, but it will also provide that barrier to residents in the area during storms. Now, beachgoers are asked to use the Broadway public access during this time. And at 6 o'clock, we'll be talking with a local real estate company who tells me why they believe this renourishment project is a good idea. Back to you.
All right, Jackie, thank you so much. Let's get now to Jacqueline in the newsroom for what's trending today.
Scott, a TV station in Texas had a lot to talk about this morning. Take a look at this video of a man who drove a pickup truck into the front of a television station in Dallas. He rammed the truck into the building over and over again, even smashing the building's windows. No injuries were reported, but the damage is significant. The driver got out of the truck, started yelling, and then scattered papers all over the sidewalk and street. The man did not make it into the building, but police did arrest him once they were on scene and also called in the bomb squad. A woman in San Antonio, Texas nearly escaped death when her van burst into flames after a power line fell on top of the vehicle. The woman was able to open the side door of the van and then jumped out before that van went up in flames. The Hollywood Park police sergeant and many others urged her to stay inside her vehicle because the power line was actually draping over the driver's side door and there was risk that she would be burned to death or electrocuted. Firefighters were able to put out the flames and say the woman is shaken up but doing okay today. Well, it's the last thing you'd expect to see slithering across your living room floor, a boa constrictor. Paul Winkleman lives at an apartment complex in Milwaukee where it was found. Now, he's not sure how it got inside because the reptile, well, obviously can't fit through small spaces. And while it's not venomous, it's not necessarily something you'd want as your roommate either. Winkleman wants to find the rightful owner or a good home for that big snake. Let's send it back to Scott in the newsroom for a consumer alert from the FDA today.
Well, Jacqueline, if you have Honey Smacks cereal in your pantry, the FDA is warning you to throw it out. The FDA writing in a tweet, get rid of the Honey Smacks. If they're still in your cabinet, toss them. A salmonella outbreak linked to the cereal has sickened 30 more people, and that makes 130 total cases now in 36 different states since the outbreak was announced earlier this summer. The FDA ordered Honey Smacks be removed from store shelves back in June, but it warns some locations are still selling it. Next time someone says to you that they're hangry, and maybe it's not a word, you can tell them to check the dictionary, because Merriam-Webster just added 840 new words and definitions, and that is one of them. By the way, it means you're both hungry and angry. Here are a few more words that made the cut. Hophead, which is a beer enthusiast. Flight, a selection of alcoholic drinks for tasting as a group. Bingeable, having multiple episodes or parts that can be watched in rapid succession. Other notable new entries include words like Instagramming, biohacking, and medical marijuana. Now over to our weathercast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Thanks, Scott. And a Lakewood Ranch webcam showing fairly typical drier conditions across the Suncoast. Not as many storms around. There's a few as expected, and they're moving pretty quickly off to the west. So expect a brief shower or two. It'll be moving on by within about 15 to 20 minutes. It won't be around long. You'll see some of the clouds starting to darken up there a little bit out into Lakewood Ranch, and it looks like scattered showers are in the offing. Heavier storms in the panhandle of Florida. Here's the actual center of the tropical depression now. It's been downgraded to a tropical depression. Top winds are at 30 miles an hour. It continues to move off to the north-northwest, and it will still bring some heavy rain here, but notice that trail of moisture, the right side, the dirty side, bringing heavy rain into the panhandle of Florida where they've seen their fair share. With its counterclockwise swirl, it continues to draw up that moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and deposit it right on into the panhandle of Florida. For us, I mentioned those brief showers. You can see they're racing off to the west at around 20 miles an hour, and they will bring a brief period of some moderate to heavy rainfall at times. Not much of a chance of them generating a lot of lightning. This one you can see generated a couple of bolts right there as it made its way to the west. So expect a few isolated thunderstorms, but mainly quickly moving passing showers across our region, at least for the next couple of hours. And as I mentioned, the heavier rainfall continues over the panhandle of Florida, where you take a look at what's happened over the past 3 days now. I went back to 3 days and show you this graphic again, wave after wave. It really started yesterday in the morning and then continued on in through the evening hours. That's where the heaviest rainfall totals have been. Right there in Escambia County and also into Santa Rosa County is where the strongest rainfall totals, up to a foot of rain in some isolated areas, and that indeed is causing some problems. For us, the Futurecast calling for a few passing showers tonight up until about 9 o'clock, and then most of that activity will be winding down. Tomorrow we'll start off sunshine for the most part, so drop-off looks to be pretty good for the kids. Pickup could be a different story, as we are expecting scattered showers, a little bit more activity tomorrow as a result of some more moisture coming back into play, but all in all, it'll be scattered, and look for a good chance for showers and storms again. On Friday, Football Friday night, it could have problems as we are anticipating some showers to work their way over from the East Coast in the late afternoon and early evening. Well, as far as the satellite imagery goes, not much to the center of that storm. Gordon really lost a lot of its punch as it made its way into land. Now, the heaviest storms right there on the color-enhanced satellite imagery showing the colder cloud tops. The first major storm of the season. Now, if you believe the forecast, the seasonal forecast, at the start of the year, they were projecting maybe one major hurricane. Well, if this is it, we're going to be happy with it so far. But as you can see, it's going to stay a fairly strong hurricane, even though it will be moving into some slightly cooler air or water and also some windier conditions in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Well, here are the forecast models. Now, we talked about it yesterday. It seemed like a lot of them were gathering to the northwest, to the east of Bermuda. Well, that has changed now. There are some more models starting to drop a little bit further off to the west. The National Hurricane Center hasn't made a full-scale change yet to the west. They've still got that northwesterly bend. But if it stays like that, and the UK Met has been the one that's been pretty consistent moving it off to the west. It could cause problems and pose a threat to the United States down the road. And we're watching two systems out there in the Atlantic. This one has a real good chance of becoming the next named storm. The one behind it is not even off the coast of Africa yet. It's a fairly significant tropical wave, though, which looks like it could become another storm as well. East winds for boaters turning to the north at 5 to 10 knots, and the 7-day forecast calling for a good chance for scattered storms. Now Sunday, a little drier air slips in both Sunday and Monday. High temperatures in the upper 80s to near 90 degrees. You want to go to our website at mysuncoast.com and click on the tab Apps, and you can download our ABC7 weather app right there. You don't need to go to your store. This takes you right there to it, and download it for free. The ABC7 weather app is a valuable tool that you can use to track lightning, big storms, and not just here, but where you travel too, so you can actually have it follow you. If you're going up to, say, Ohio or Michigan, you can actually see what the weather's up there as well.
Yeah.
All
right, Bob. Well, the National Weather Service confirming 4 separate tornadoes touched down in Iowa on Monday, earlier this week. Here's a look at some of the damage. The first touchdown near Vinton, Iowa. Meteorologists estimate it was on the ground for only about 1/10 of a mile. It's only about 20 yards wide. The second also estimated to be an EF0 with winds of around 80 miles an hour.
The third tornado touchdown outside of Alburnett, it was on the ground for more than 2 miles, 100 yards wide, and had winds up to 110 miles per hour. You can see the path right there with a rank of an EF1. Not a big one, but still causing damage there. The fourth tornado touchdown in northwest Cedar Rapids with winds of 100 miles per hour.
Well, the strongest typhoon to make landfall in mainland Japan in 25 years hit the country yesterday. That death toll there continues to rise. At least 10 people have died. 300,000 have been hurt. 3,000 are also stranded at an airport. Before the typhoon made landfall, it had sustained winds of near 90 miles an hour. The powerful system overturned vehicles and left more than 1.5 million people without power.
The government issued evacuation advisories to more than 1 million people. Parking decks and other structures look like waterfalls because of the runoff of the waters nearby. A 2,500-ton fuel tanker collided with a bridge after being swept up in the strong currents. Again, the storm is expected to dump over 20 inches of rain on parts of Japan.
Wow, what a mess there. Thank you, Bob. Still ahead, how an Indianapolis group pulled together to bring an elderly veteran his love of music back home.
I'm Joey Panic from Suncoast View. We've got some fun coming up Thursday morning at 9 a.m. You're never too old to learn a new skill, and we're going to meet a group of Suncoast seniors who are starting out as improv comedians. And this weekend, they'll head up to compete in a national comedy festival. Plus, we're going to look at the popularity of swing dance lessons here on the Suncoast, and we'll take a look at the best new movies to hit area theaters. All that's coming up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
During the past 10 years, Tidewell Hospice volunteers have provided more than 1 million hours of service. They sit with patients, giving caregivers a break. They work in offices. They take their furry friends on pet therapy visits. They even clown around. Every task performed by a volunteer makes a difference in the lives of our patients and their families. Join Tidewell's volunteer team. They're truly 1 in a million. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
If you think it's hot outside, just wait until you see even hotter savings inside. Only at Rugs As Art Hot Summer Savings Sale event will you find the lowest prices on a vast selection of stunning rugs, furniture accents, and accessories. This special event only happens once a year, so hurry in before the best selections are gone. The Hot Summer Savings event ends soon, so don't miss out on the best prices ever. Rugs As Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
Excuse me a minute. Hi, Dad. No, don't try to get up.
Hi, I'm Julie, a right-at-home caregiver. And if I'd been caring for Tom's dad, I would have noticed some dizziness that could lead to balance issues. That's because I'm trained to report any changes in behavior, no matter how small. So Tom could have peace of mind.
We'll be right there. We have to go.
Hey, Tom, you should try Right at Home. They're great for us.
The right care, right at home.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day?
With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
I'm Alan Cohn. In God we trust. It's on our money, and now a new state law mandates it be posted in every public school. So much for the separation of church and state.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
A veteran's saxophone was stolen from his home while he was at church celebrating his 89th birthday. But Cloy Stotson is back to making music thanks to the generous act by the Indy 10 Point Coalition. The thieves stole several items, including the saxophone that he bought nearly 70 years ago. After learning what happened, volunteers stepped up to help, and they got him a new saxophone.
At the end, love is going to be the winner.
The saxophone was donated and repaired after volunteers put out a call for help on social media. Nice ending there. Let's get one more check on our evening weather with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan now.
Scott, we should have a good ending to this day as well. We're looking for partly cloudy skies for the beaches this evening for the sunset, which will occur at 7:46. The days are getting shorter, and we'll see an east wind 10 to 15. Chance for a few passing showers too, so you may have to dodge one or two of those moving on through with the possibility of a isolated thunderstorm in the mix. Heavier rain continues to be the problem over the panhandle of Florida and into Mississippi and even into Alabama. Now you can see that low pressure center, which is the tropical depression, moving off to the northwest now, and also a lot of rain trailing behind it. So it's not over yet for the folks over the lower Mississippi Valley, and you can see that rain really pretty strong across parts of the panhandle of Florida earlier today. It's still some showers out in the Gulf of Mexico generating some rainfall there. Now rainfall totals I mentioned earlier over a foot over parts of the panhandle, specifically near Gulf Breeze, Pensacola, and Ferry Pass, all getting hammered there with in excess of 8 inches of rainfall. For us, we're not going to see many showers tonight. We'll see a few. As far as the latest goes on the tropical depression now, top winds are at 30 miles an hour. Northwest movement at 14, expected to turn more toward the north and eventually off toward Illinois and Ohio. Well, more in the tropics coming up in just a few minutes. Scott?
All right, Bob, thank you. Thank you for joining us on ABC 7 News at 4. We hope to see you again in about 30 minutes.